Okay.
All right. Okay.
First
So I'll turn it
announcement.
over to Vic.
Thank you. First announcement I want to make is we have a special committee for new grantees and um, those who have staff transition. This is an unusual cohort because some of you have had the grant before, some of you over many years. Um, but I think our there's a couple of you that could uh, be really helped by being in the committee. I think the Boys and Girls Clubs would be very helpful for you guys to participate in that committee for a year. And then I think too that Bobby Joe, because she's new in her role in Des Moines, should also participate in that. And our strategy is a little bit different. A lot of states, they have a list for risk assessment that accumulates demerits. And we kind of took the opposite role with providing you with additional support. Because we want to see you succeed. We don't want to wait until things get bad and then say, aha, and lower the hammer. I don't think that's the right way to do it. And so there's some documentation on that. That's a whole lot better. I would rather help you to get where you need to be than to be dealing with the problems, letting things wait and get bad. So, and that um, particular committee really is not included in the 5 that are required. That's one that we keep going for support. And some of our grantees like Des Moines, SHIP, if you have staff turnover, you should have your new staff person join into this committee so that they can get the support they need. And I think that's going to just help us do a better job all the way around. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, great. All right, I've got a PowerPoint to share with you. Okay. And I'm going to move this down to the bottom here. All right, so, our program is very important for kids. We really make a difference in the lives of children. Normally when we do this face-to-face, I have a little sheet for your cell phones. However, we've done this in previous meetings where I ask folks to send me their cell phone number in case I need to get a hold of you. So if I don't have your cell phone, please send me an email with that cell phone. Here's what we're going to talk about today. An overview of the program, first steps, monitoring, budgets and finance, professional development, data and evaluation, and childcare contrasted with 21st century.
Vic, if I could interrupt for just a moment, if people want to put their cell phone into the chat box, I'm happy to record that on attendance, and I'll send that to Vic in an email later so he has that information.
That's a great idea. Thank you. Okay, here's our annual one-pager, and this is not the complete one, but it just gives you kind of an overview of what our program's all about. We have 49 grants to 24 organizations serving 93 sites, and we've got 765 partners, and this is last year's data, and we're serving 14,648 children. And in Iowa, we, care about kids, and we've made a lot of progress with getting their academics up and supporting them to get excited about learning once again. Okay, this program, when it's done right, can really make a difference in the lives of kids. And we expect with this grant that you're building a model program. It's for a limited amount of time, and it's to help you build a community base. That's why the name is Community Learning Centers. And we provide academic aid, enrichment activities, social emotional learning, nutritional food, and most of all, fun to make kids happy about being in school and learning. So those of you may or may not know that this is a federal title program, and all federal title programs focus on children in poverty and children with achievement gaps, and those are our two priorities. So with the children in poverty, that's why we have that 40% minimum free and reduced lunch. And some of the title programs are flow through, where they just divide up the money a little bit for everybody based on population. Ours is the only one that has a competition. And so that way you can potentially get a little more money, but also there are some other requirements. We're also the only title program that has its own data reporting, the APR system. And right now there's a window open for the APR, but there'll be a second window open in the fall for everyone. So, okay. So, like I said earlier, the purpose of our program is to create community partnerships to benefit kids. And we've done a phenomenal job in Iowa. There's no other state that has the partners that we have. And that's why we're able to serve so many kids. And that's why a lot of our programs are doing well. And these are a few pictures that, I've taken on site visits. And so this is what we know. When you're running a successful program, your attendance is going to go up, even for kids with chronic absenteeism. Incidents of discipline are going to decrease, and 50% is really common. How do I know this? I talk to principals, and the principals have databases where they track the number of referrals. Academics should improve, and we've done an excellent job with helping kids, especially with literacy. That's our #1 goal. Behavior. Last year I visited a site where referrals were reduced from over 2,000 to 224 because of their after-school program. And we've had training with social emotional learning, and that's made a big difference in Iowa. One of the things you have to keep track of is attendance. Now, your goal is to hit 70% by year 1, 80% by year 3. That's actually one of the lowest requirements. A lot of states still have 90 and 95% requirements, which is not really, I think, fair, because we're dealing with at-risk kids and kids that are chronically absent. So I think these are reasonable goals. And you'll hear me say that quite a bit, that we try to make our goals here in Iowa reasonable. Now, the bad thing is, if you don't meet your attendance goals, I have to make adjustments in the contracts. So keep that in mind. And that's why these are also on your site monitoring documents. As far as your budget, there are some percentages. You can only do 8%, and that includes indirect costs. And you also have to comply with all the federal statutes and regulations. But we've created some finance documents to help you. The latest one went out in January, and you should share that with your finance people. That'll help them to make sure that they're putting things in the right categories. Another thing is we have access to your records because this is a federal grant. Your local evaluation is a public document and you need to post that. And at any time I can ask for documents on purchases, payroll, and other things related to the program. And that's just because it's a federal grant. So both the state, which is us, and the subgrantee, we have to keep records to show that we're in compliance with the program. Our grants run 3 years at full funding and 2 years at 75% funding. And that's also an adjustment. When I started, the grants were down to 50%. It went 75% year 4 and then 50% year 5, which I didn't think was reasonable given the fact you need to build partnerships up for sustainability and it takes time. Since we did the 75 for both years, we haven't had any issues with folks not being able to sustain their programs. And it also is helpful that we have a meeting before any reductions are made to talk with all the stakeholders and ensure that you guys have been working and having plans in place to prepare for this. Now, notice that if you do not schedule your comprehensive visit or you fail to provide information, your grant could contractually end in 3 years. And believe it or not, I've actually had a couple of people that said, we don't want you to come out for a comprehensive visit. We would rather just end the grant. It's unusual, but it happens. Okay, here are some things that are very helpful to everyone doing this program. Especially when you start up for the first time, you need to plan your program, hire staff, buy supplies, enroll students, take attendance every day, communicate with parents, work with the school principal and staff, and hold family engagement meetings. Now, the minimum is 1 per quarter. And one of the ways that I monitor that is I look for expenses on your claims. You should have something every quarter on your claims. Now, maybe you've got such wonderful partners that they're paying for everything. And if that happens, you'll get an email from me that says, it looks like you didn't have any family engagement meetings. And then you'll have to send me things like attendance sign-in sheets, maybe some, an agenda, pictures to prove that you did have that meeting. So it's better to spend some of the money. And in fact, that is why we have on your claim sheet an expense category for those family engagement meetings. You also are required to enroll in a best practice committee. And the way that works is for every cohort that you have funding for, you should be in one of those committees. And we have 5 of those. And we expect you to attend our professional development events, the annual conference, And then we also have webinars and trainings. We expect that you're going to submit your claims on time with the proper documentation. Now, those of you funded in this cohort, you will not be reporting into the APR this year, but next year you will, because we're always a year behind in the reporting. Okay. One of the first steps with getting yourself organized is to set up your timeline, your activities, and to that we also have a guide for family engagement that we did last year, and that's going to be posted on the Alliance website, and it has a lot of good resources for you to set up your family engagement meetings. And here's some things that you should also be thinking about: recruiting the teachers and the community groups, doing budget planning meetings, and monitoring your program. If you have more than one site, you need to set up a schedule and monitor what's going on. And also the Iowa After School Alliance is going to do a best practice visit your first year, and they're going to assist you with PD and help you with finding all the resources that are available, and doing other things to support you in the field. Okay, so we want to focus on the needs of kids. We want you to develop partnerships, collect your data, and sign up for Community of Practice Committee. And don't forget that reading is one of our priorities along with math, and that's why we report it in our data system. Okay, in a nutshell, with family engagement, what you should be doing is focusing on informing families about the program. It's going to be a hard sell to have our families become reading experts. Iowa has the highest percentage where both parents are working, and some of those parents are working 2 jobs. And it's hard for them even to come to school and do a meeting. So we just want to get them informed, and also make sure that we have positive things to share with them about their kids. Recognize their achievements when you have the meetings. Recognize kids that have improved their attendance, their behavior, their reading, or their math. You may get some parents that want to volunteer, and you can do a field trip during the week, or you could do it on a Saturday. So we want to encourage, that community involvement. Okay, and then we have more documents, and in yellow, these are documents we have available for you. We've got a guide on attendance, and we've got one on the importance of field trips. And Iowa was the first state in the country to recognize kids with disabilities and to try to work towards improving communications with the schools to better meet their needs. So on the website, you'll see we have a letter from our attorney, and we also have some federal guides to working with kids and disabilities. Okay, so here are our committees. We've got a couple of people that have come in and out, I guess. I'm going to stop the share and let's talk about some of those committees. And talk about the ones you have been in and some of the things that you liked about them. And don't forget to unmute to share your experiences with the committees.
So this is John Spinks with Oak Ridge, and I am a part, well, actually I co-chair our Family Engagement Committee. And I think for all of us in the cohorts that we're involved in, family engagement has always been a tough one and continues to be for one reason or another. But I think we've set some good goals and objectives for our committee. I think we've been able to help some of our folks that live in rural areas try and find resources. I think it's always good when we can talk about what our struggles are, but I think we've also come up with some good ideas to share with others about how to engage. And I think we've done a pretty good job of coming up with a list of resources in our various communities to share with each other. So,
thanks, John. Now, you don't have to make a decision today for these committees. In fact, all of our committees use the same conference call, and so you can test the waters. You could visit each committee and see which one is going to be the best fit for you based on the needs you have locally. Somebody else want to share about their experience with a community? All right, committee group.
While people are thinking, I would throw out there that to Vic's point, you certainly don't have to make a decision today, but if there was a committee that was interesting to you, absolutely reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat box so that you have that readily. Next week, I'll be confirming committee rosters, and then I'll also be sending out calendar invites for the first 6 months of the fiscal year. So you'll know when those conference calls or Zoom calls are going to be held. Again, if there's an interesting committee to you, or if you want to learn more about a committee, you can always reach out to me as well, and I'm happy to navigate that for you.
Thanks, Crystal. And did we send out the calendar for everyone yet of events?
Yes, the fiscal year calendar, which of course is kind of a working document. We know that sometimes those dates will change. That was sent in your meeting material packet that everybody should have gotten, received today. It's been a long day already, folks. If you did not get that, or if you need any of the additional guides or materials that Vic has referenced so far in this call, again, please let me know and I'll be happy to send that to you.
Good. Here's another thing. I'm not sure that all of you are on my mailing list. I have a distribution list that I use to send out the official emails about the program. So if you need to get on my list, send me an email and I'll get you on that right away. The good news is we're going to be able to grant you some additional time. We've got a community partner list that normally we like in July, I think. We're going to do the end of September because I just checked with my program officer, and my monitoring call where they check on that is going to be delayed because of the extra work they've had with the COVID. So we're going to let you guys have a little extra time to get all that ready. If you've never done that before, we have it online, and it's a spreadsheet for you, and then it becomes a database that you can search, and it's really nice. So if you're looking for a partner for a particular area, you can use that as well. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick. I believe I have it. All right, let me do a quick screen share again so you can see what this looks like. Click on Partners up here from the menu. And this is from last year. You can search by activities. So if we want to start a chess club, click on chess, and then automatically it's going to show you our resources from chess clubs around the state. And you can see there's a bunch of activities in here for family engagement. You can see some of our partners that help out with family engagement. So this is a great resource, and it behooves you to take advantage of this resource. In fact, that's why we have some webinars, because we have so many things to help you be successful that we can't do it all in one meeting. It would just be overwhelming. And so if you go to the Iowa21cclc.com website, there's tons of resources on there, and we even have archived all of our webinars, and you can see some of the subjects we've had. In fact, we had a really good one today on libraries and partnering with your library. So every month we have a new one, so check on that. And okay, if no one else wants to share about their experiences with community groups, I'll go back to the PowerPoint. There we go. That's where we left off. So these are our committees: communication, evaluation, family engagement, professional development, support, and of course our new grantee one. And for new grantees, what we don't want is to wait and have you get into trouble. So this committee meets, most of our committees meet every other month. This one meets monthly because sometimes you just can't wait. And it's a great way for new people to have some training and get up to speed with what's required in the program. And of course, everything we do is governed by federal statute. And there's our federal statute that requires us to have something like this. Now, if we wanted to, we could say, yeah, immediately if there's a change, you're going to be considered high risk, and we could institute additional monitoring, but I think a cooperative approach is a lot better way to do it. Now, if you do have a change, make sure you send me the new person's name, email address, phone number, cell phone, and office. And if you're changing the location, keep me informed on that. Okay, professional development. This is another area where I think we offer a lot more than other states. And a lot of our PD is organic, based on best practices that we've seen you guys do out in the field. And, you know, it's such high quality that we say, oh man, can you share this? And that's one thing that makes it so powerful, because it's working somewhere already. It's not somebody wrote a book and they're going on a speaking tour and it's theory. Ours is applied professional development in most of the cases. Okay, monitoring. We have a lot of different ways we can monitor. Monitoring your budget is every quarter. We have department site visits, and we have Iowa After School Alliance visits, but they focus on professional development and community of practice. We have desk monitoring, and we also have to do risk assessment. But trust me, on the risk assessment, you're going to hear from me via email and phone call if there's an issue, so that we can work on it early and avoid problems down the road, because I want you guys to succeed. This is just a little graphic on how we do our monitoring. And this was actually approved by the U.S. Department of Education for our risk assessment. And so we're not going to be making a list and giving you demerits and then waiting until you've accumulated 50 demerits and then we come down on you. That's not going to happen here. Okay. We don't want to give you a lot of anxiety over the monitoring, because our number one priority is to help you so that you can serve kids. A lot of our site visit requirements are actually embedded in the application, and all of our site visit documents are posted. We don't have a secret document that we're going to come out with. You'll see the questions ahead of time. We want to keep you informed every step of the way. And you know, you're going to get reminder emails from me. So just follow the guidance and your program will succeed. Now, there's requirements for the state, me. We have to conduct regular systematic reviews of the sub-grantee. And these are the statutes that require us to do that. Last year, they released a new director's toolkit, and they used 2 examples from Iowa. And you can see this is from their toolkit. They like our monitoring plan, so which is nice. And they also like our sustainability plan template. And so here's a few examples of partnerships you can do with some pictures. One of our big ones is community college partners, and they can help you with not only with adult literacy, bringing in folks that can help your families improve their reading, their language skills, and provide all sorts of adult ed classes. Colleges are also good, especially community colleges, for kids to do careers. So here's a kind of a model of monitoring. And so you know what to expect. The new grantee is going to get some visits, and we monitor the claims. We have your local evaluation, which we also review. In Iowa, reviewing your local evaluation results in over 1,000 pages of reading during the winter. So, and all of those evaluations you're going to get feedback from. We may have some questions as we are double checking the data for accuracy. And then we continue with the monitoring, and after 3 years, you get a comprehensive site visit or your grant will end. If you're successful, you get an extra 2 years of funding. So, attendance. Interesting fact is we're first in the nation in the number of kids under 6 with all their parents that are in the labor force. And that's from the census. And improving attendance is essential for us reducing achievement gaps. If kids don't come to school, all the programs and support that they have, it's not going to be successful. And again, make sure you monitor attendance because we have to monitor that as a state. And of course, I'm pretty happy that in Iowa, we have more community partners. We've got excellent reading scores, and we've got good attendance, and about half of our sites are feeding kids a full meal. And we have really good support. So here's something that I see a lot in our programs. Read alouds to the kids. And then it shows how this is something that meets Iowa core standards. Now, what you could do, weather permitting, is do a read aloud outside, and that would facilitate social distancing. And plus, kids like to go outside, and the sunshine is going to be beneficial for them as well. Okay. So we have 3 different kinds of site visits to support you and also to monitor what's going on in your program. The best practice visit will occur first with the Iowa After School Alliance coming out and helping you with professional development and other support needs. Second will be your visit from me, and that we have an 11-page monitoring checklist that we'll go over with you. And you should be looking at that right away just to make sure that you're doing everything on there, because it's all aligned with the federal statute. And then third, we have our comprehensive site visit after 3 years. And that helps us to do our monitoring. Another thing I like, my favorite thing, in fact, on a visit is to talk to the kids, because they always give me unfiltered responses. And it's amazing the things you can get from kids. Once again, you need to meet 70% in your first year and 80% by year 3. And here's a good example of attendance. This is from Council Bluffs that they sent me, and they're getting funding for 1,200 kids. And because of their community partners, they're serving 3,923 kids. And so that's great. And it's a good example of what you can do in every location by building community support. Okay, let's take a little break here and talk about the stuff we've gone over so far. Most of you have had this funding before. How are you doing on your community partners? Why don't we take a minute and everyone tell us how many partners you have so far?
This is John with Oak Ridge, and we have about 40 currently, and we are going to be adding probably 3 to 4 more partners over the summer.
That's great, John. Thanks. Okay, who wants to go next? I think we'll have to start calling on people. Jenna, how many partners do you have? And Ship, unmute yourself.
Sorry, I couldn't get myself unmuted. You know, we have a lot. We have a lot of different programs that we're overseeing. I mean, I think a good solid list would be 50. And those are kind of changing every year, even every like semester. It seems like we either lose some or gain new ones. And I think this is a really interesting question as we're thinking about how school is going to look this next year and how our partners are going to play a role in the programming that we are able to, hopefully able to provide. With them limiting the amount of people that they are going to allow into the school buildings, we've already started conversations with our partners on like, how can we continue to be partners if you can't physically be in the building? If it's they're gonna run something virtually, and then we are providing the technology or whatever for them to like either live stream in or record videos to be able to still do what they're doing. So that's where we're at.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. James, unmute yourself. Tell us how many partners you have.
That's a really good question. I haven't really been involved with the partnerships on the programs. I know that we got several different programs that we run in partnerships across the grants that we have, but an exact number I have no clue. And then trying to figure out again with COVID and how school is going to look, like what does that look like for us in the future? So I'm just starting to gain information on how many partners we have and where we are.
Well, Chelsea should have that list from last year. And you guys, I know, have tremendous community support in Waterloo. You just had a fundraising effort to build a new club.
Yes, we did. So but as far as the number, I have absolutely no clue on how many partners that we gained from trying to build that new building and then implement a new program in our facilities.
I think it's safe to say you have over 25.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we have over 25.
That's great. Okay, Nicole.
Hi, yes. So across, I would say, all of our programs and organization wide, we have a lot. For this particular new program for us at this point, we just have a handful, I would say, maybe 7.
Okay. Well, you're off to a good start. Um, I'm sure you're going to make a lot more partners.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Vic.
Bobby Joe, tell us how many partners that Des Moines has.
Yes, I was just pulling up, we have a menu of services that list all of our partners. So I was just pulling that up here. We have, it looks like 60 or more partners that we are working with. And like Jenna said, we're currently working with some of those partners. We use Canvas as our academic online platform. So working with those partners to get them access to Canvas. So that way, if there's anything digitally that they can work with our students this summer or depending how we go back to school. So we're having some of those conversations with our partners now around virtually offering some different activities and enrichment for kids.
Okay, and don't the after-school kids have access to services at Scavo?
Yeah, so we have a health clinic down at our central campus, which is where Scavo's at. So they would have access to all of our health services. We also have a dental clinic. So yeah, they would have access to all of that.
Okay, great. And one of the nice things about partnerships is, you know, all of the money you have that's federal money, there's a lot of rules that go along with that. And you know, some things are not allowable expenses, but when you have partners making contributions, you have a lot more flexibility. I get questions that people want to provide a prize for a kid, and you know, we really can't do that with federal funds, but community groups, you can, you know, have some of them contribute, and you could do something like a bicycle with community funds. So that's one of the nice things about having these partners. Okay, did I forget anybody?
Yeah, hi Vic, it's Jessie here.
I
got kicked off there for a second, but we have, I would say, creeping into the over 100 into the teens. And I would have to completely agree with Jenna, though it'll be interesting to see how that'll look this fall, as we, you know, we're limiting outside organizations in the schools, and how that we can continue to involve them in virtual ways or whatever that may look like. But yeah, it'll be definitely interesting in multiple ways this fall.
Thank you. Well, that's going to be a challenge, is how to keep the partners involved. And we may not be able to have them involved to the same degree that we've had them in the past, but with the carryover, you should have a little bit of a financial cushion to ride this out. So that's a positive.
Yeah. Vic, Amy sent me a message. She's having a little trouble with connectivity today, so she's going to try to get back on. But I believe she would be the last person to contribute. And if she can rejoin us, that'll be great.
Okay. Yeah, she's had some connectivity issues. I think from our last meeting, she had some. So that's one of the things we're dealing with being at home, is the connectivity. Although that's going to change because Elon Musk is setting up satellites all over the globe, and he's going to offer us satellite internet from a low orbit that it's going to be way faster than what most of you have in your house. So that's a good thing. And there's competition in that because Amazon is also sending up satellites. And competition generally brings the price down. Well, let's go ahead and move forward. Budgets and finance. So we have two guides for that. That's the first guide, which covers your program budget and has things in there like how to do a carryover, request, how to do an amendment, having regular budget meetings. And then the second one is a little more comprehensive, that was done by Deb Schroeder before she retired. And that is for finance people. And it's a little more comprehensive, but both of these documents should be given to your finance person. Then data and evaluation. Every year we have a statewide evaluation. We report our data into the APR system, and we report our contact time and progress we've made on addressing the achievement gap. So there's actually 2 evaluations every year. First is your local evaluation that's due on the 30th of November. And the second is your state evaluation. And when we're reading your local evaluation, we aggregate that into the state one. And so you will be getting feedback from us. And keep in mind, your local evaluation is 1 year behind. So this cohort will not be dealing with evaluation until next year. Now, there's actually federal statute for us to conduct these evaluations, and I've listed them here on this page. And another statute is, do we have clear and appropriate performance indicators? And we do, because we're using the GEPRA measures. And then also, do we notify and make program evaluations available to the public? Yes, we do. And we have always said you have to post it publicly on your website. And that's how we meet that requirement. For those of you that haven't been here, this is our wonderful Department of Education website, and you should go here and bookmark this, because this is where every year we list the grant application information. Okay, here's our evaluation timeline. Now, this year, of course, we don't have the assessment data, and so they're going to be asking for anecdotal information on the APR. So that's always a good thing. And we already have a little bit ahead of some states, because we ask for anecdotal information in our template. So November 30th, evaluations are due, but we're pretty generous with granting extensions when you need it. You may have a new evaluator that needs some additional time. And as we're going through these, you know, we do them one at a time in the order in which they came in. So we work on this all winter. And here's the most common issue when you're on the data system is resetting that password. And if you haven't been in the system for 60 days and you go in there, it's going to tell you your password is no good and you need to reset it. And so there's a plan for that. And I don't want you to feel bad, because I just had to reset my password. It was more than 60 days since I was into the system. If you have an issue, you can contact Tim Glenn. He also has access to the data and can reset your password. And Tim and I work together on this APR system. This is one of our spreadsheets where we gather information about the professional development that you do. And we just started that last year. And that helps for our planning purposes, because if we see needs, we can provide some training in those areas that are high need for you guys. And this is an example of the form with a little more detail. For in-state PD, you don't need approval. It's only when you're going out of state for PD that you need to send me an email and get approval. And I'll ask you for the URL of the conference, who will attend, and why you need this training. Pretty easy. It can be done in an email. And one of the things in Iowa, we offer absolutely free technical assistance. And I think our quality is, and many times, far better than some of the things that people are paying for. Some of the areas we concentrate on are attendance, academics, budgets, but we're not limited to that. We're planning some social emotional learning PD, and our program is way ahead of the game. Here's an example of just one of the things on the checklist, so you can kind of see. We require in Iowa 60 hours per month, and that's actually been in place for the last 25 years. The wording is a little different. It used to say 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. The problem is with that wording is if you want to do something on Saturday, you may not get reimbursed because it's not Monday through Friday. So by changing it to 60 hours per month, you can do things on a Saturday or a Sunday, and you have more flexibility at the local level. And we encourage you to have field trips for kids. Those are great experiences. They can, see animals that they normally wouldn't see. They can go swimming. It's very useful for building the self-esteem and the learning of kids in a non-traditional way. We also encourage STEM and computer science. And again, a non-traditional way of approaching STEM would be having a chess club. Chess clubs are really a good way to get kids to stop and concentrate. And there's quite a few Common Core objectives that they meet playing chess. And kudos to Des Moines. They have they didn't have it this year, but last year they had all their elementary programs come together and had a chess tournament, and they provided awards for the kids, and it was amazing to see. I counted over 100 people were there, and kids that are considered at risk, who probably have several referrals to the principal, were sitting quietly for over an hour playing chess and concentrating, thinking about what they were going to do, problem solving. It was, a good experience. And here's some pictures that I took from the Des Moines event. And that was a family engagement activity as well. Another partnership that you need to have is with your community college. And they can provide adult literacy and classes to help adults become successful. Maybe it's career retraining. Well, whatever it is, the colleges receive a federal grant for adult education. And so that helps us to avoid supplanting by doing that partnership. And you know what? Once you're talking with those folks at the college, you can also say, hey, would you have any students that would like to come and work in our after-school program? And, you might get some additional staff because of that. So we ask you to do more than the minimum for kids. 60 hours per month is the minimum, but the more you invest in time with them, the better your results are going to be. Another thing about the federal system is you have to have a minimum of 30 days of summer school before you can enter data. So I suggest doing a summer program with 35 days. So if a child misses a day or two, they can still have 30 days and your program data can be reported. Okay, breakfast and a healthy snack. You know, we're a farm state and our kids should have more access to fresh fruit, vegetables, and farm products. And about half of our programs are serving kids not only a snack, but a full meal. You can partner with Hy-Vee or another maybe local supermarket, and Hy-Vee sends its dietitian to provide education on nutrition for kids, and a lot of times they are bringing in fresh fruit for snacks for the kids. Here's a few more of our statewide partners. And of course, this is just a little sample. Here's an example of our partners at the Iowa Ag Literacy. They have a selection of books that you can get, a whole classroom set for 50 cents, free lesson plans, and they even have a free game. And you know, kids love to play a game. And in this game, they can learn about running a farm. So we like you to get kids excited about learning. And once again, this is one of our after-school programs. Okay, and of course, we're a little bit different than a child care program. We require academic support, and a child care program does not. Here's a little table where you can see the difference between 21st century and child care. Ours takes a little longer to apply for funds, and we discourage fees. We don't consider it best practice, where with DHS, fees are okay. So there are some differences. Now, DHS is a good partner, and all of the PD that we offer through the Iowa After School Alliance will qualify for DHS child care credits. Okay, here's my contact information. I'm going to end the share right now, and we'll see what else we have to discuss. Did Amy get on?
I don't see that she is, but of course we're recording, so I'll make sure that she sees the recording.
Okay. And I kind of know what everybody's partners are anyway, because you list those in your local evaluations. But it's just nice to, you know, hear from you guys. I think everyone is doing a great job, and, you know, this has been a big challenge to get over this pandemic and move forward and continue to serve kids. Another thing, if you guys have a question, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. I'm always available to help. And if it's intimidating to contact me because I'm the state guy, then you might want to talk to Crystal or Brittany, and that's okay too, because then if they don't know the answer, they'll contact me. But we want you to feel, you know, that you have support.
Absolutely.
Vic, this is John. I just want to say to anyone who's brand new and this is your first time with the grant, I encourage you to reach out to Vic. I can honestly say firsthand, being a new grantee, back in 2015. He was a valuable resource. I put him on speed dial, and it's better to contact him when you're in doubt rather than waiting to get in trouble. So I totally agree. And I will just say to you, he has a lot of insight. He's easy to talk to, and there are no dumb questions that you can have for him. So I would encourage you that if you're brand new with this grant, please reach out to him. Crystal does a great job as well, but I can honestly say Vic really helped us get through that first 3 years. He's got a lot of valuable resources. So please build that relationship with him.
Thanks, John. I would just echo that too and say that Vic's goal is to never get you all in trouble. He will try to do anything else before that happens. And so he's really great to reach out to, and he'll work with you as best as he can. So, and he's not scary. So let us know how we can be helpful, but also Vic is a great resource for you. Thanks for chiming in, John.
So we've covered a lot of stuff, and we've got a lot of the documents that have been referenced in that PowerPoint. They're going to be available on the after school website. Some of them came to you in the email. You know, go through them. They're a great resource for you. And keep in mind, if you do say, uh-oh, I think we're in trouble, you still need to contact me, because I have some strategies that can help you mitigate that trouble. You know, I have the thing, if you owe the IRS over $10,000, call us. Well, think about me like in that light, because I have contacts with the U.S. Department of Ed, and we can work out some things. You know, our bottom line is serving kids. And there's only one thing that gets me upset, is when I think you're shortchanging the kids. Other than that, I'm going to do everything possible to help you be successful. So, any other questions? Anything that somebody wants to share? This has got to be our shortest new grantee meeting ever.
So again, I would just remind people that if you did not receive those documents, reach out to me. Thank you, Andy. I just forwarded those to you. Also, if you haven't already, if you wouldn't mind dropping your cell phone into the chat box, you can do that privately if you would prefer to do it that way, because then again, I'll collect that information and I'll get it sent off to Vic. So.
Yep. And I didn't provide my cell phone number in the slide, but my office phone, when I'm not in the office, it automatically forwards to my cell phone. And I can give you my cell phone number as well. It's 515-402-2729. However, if you get an email from me, it's on my email. So. All right, well, I want to thank you guys all for participating, and want to wish you a wonderful start of the school year, and hopefully all our concerns about this COVID will dissipate, and we'll just be focused on getting the kids reading at higher levels and attending every day and taking them on wonderful field trips.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Vic.
All right, take care.